I'm gonna show you guys 5 different ways to upcycle a regular t-shirt. You can go to a thrift store, you can raid your brother, your uncle, your husband, your boyfriend's closet, whatever. You have my blessing. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Orly, for those of you that are new. Hi, I'm so glad that you found me. So I think you guys know this, but some of you maybe don't. I used to have a clothing line. It was called Tuck and West, which means cut and sew backwards. And it was basically like collection of limited edition pieces or limited runs. So what I would do is I would sort of shop at thrift stores. I would find like t-shirts that I thought had cool graphics or just fabrics that I thought were really cool. And I would do these sort of small runs of production, like never more than 14 pieces or so. And I thought it would be really fun today to do a full episode of T-shirt Upcycles. Really awesome pieces that not only would I have sold as part of my clothing line if I still had it, but that are really huge trends now that we're going into fall. We're in fall, I'm so excited. These pieces would have ranged anywhere between like $75 and $260. So it's a lot, right? But the good news is you guys can do this on your own and save all of that money. Now, speaking of websites, I am so excited because today's sponsor is Xyro, which is the most affordable and the simplest way to build a website like that. You do not need to have any experience coding. You don't need to have any experience in graphic design. They have hundreds of themes that you can use and new ones are added daily. And with my promo code, you guys are gonna get 30% off all paid plans. If you are looking to build a portfolio, resume, landing page, it's also for full e-commerce websites. You can do everything through the website, and that means uploading all of your inventory, taxes, shipping. You can even sell through like Amazon, Facebook, and Instagram through Xyro. So let's take a look at the website I literally built in like 45 minutes. I decided to go with this photography portfolio website. I just loved the bold color. So first thing you do is just start adjusting one detail at a time. This is the drag and drop feature. Obviously I want to feature video, so I just clicked video, I dragged it, and now I'm adjusting it to size. Now there's all of the social connect. So I added in a button that connected to each of my social media. You can add in your Instagram feed and import it directly into the website. Any items or blocks that you don't need, just go in and delete them. Really, this is about customizing a structure that already exists. In their contact form, it had like phone numbers and stuff I didn't want, so I made mine a newsletter. I obviously wanted to feature more videos, so I added that block in. And I'd say the most fun part is once you do the main change, this is when you can really start to customize it because you can see your site come to life. And this is what I ended up with. I've got a bold section for my logo. I've got an area for each featured video, plus an area for the additional videos in line. My Instagram feed, which is connected via a button to my Instagram. I also created an About Orly section, which has my full bio for business. It's got all the TV shows that I've done, the different brands that I've worked with. And then my contact page is a subscribe for my newsletter. You guys are gonna get 30% off all of the paid plans, either using the promo code, the DIY Designer, or you can use the link in my description, which is xyro.com/special/the DIY Designer. Okay, let's get into materials. First shirt we're gonna do is the super popular padded shoulder tee. I'm gonna start off with this X-Men t-shirt that I found at a thrift store. And first thing you have to do is cut open the underarm seam on the underarm of your t-shirt. Now, theoretically, if you wanted, you could be done here. You could actually tuck in the sleeve into your bra strap and it will hook it. By opening up the underarm seam, it gives you a little bit of breathing room and allows it to stay. But we're gonna add in these shoulder pads. I flipped my shirt inside out and I exposed my shoulder seam and I grabbed the shoulder pads. Think about the way that they're gonna lay on your sleeve. You want the rounded edge of it to be facing out by your arm, and you want the straight edge to be facing in by your neck. You also obviously want the curved part to be lined up with the shoulder seam so that when it flips inside out, the curved part is going the right way. Now flip it back inside out, and we are going to take that sleeve, the excess sleeve, and we're actually gonna fold it under and adhere it to the underside of our shoulder pad. So you're just gonna take a little bit of fabric glue, hold your shirt out, and follow the natural slope of it and press it inside. Use your hand to fold it so that it feels like it's laying nice and flat. Press the top, and if your sleeve is a little bit longer like mine, you'll just have to cut off that excess. Once you fold these in and cut off the excess, you can add a couple of beads of glue to tack the rest of the sleeve into place, but that's actually it, you guys. That one is done. Just cut off that excess and you're ready to go. All right, so for our next one, we're gonna do this split tee or splice tee trend. Like I mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of the way it looks with graphic tees, but I thought tie-dye tees would be so fun. The colors, the vibes, they work really well together, but I think it'll look really cool to have them split in half. Now, these happen to be 2 shirts that I made. So I started with the exact same shirt, which means they're gonna fit perfectly. Yours don't need to though, don't worry about it, that can be part of the look. What you want to do is decide which side of each shirt you're using. Once you decide, put your ruler down the middle and then slide it a little bit to the right or left of center so that you give yourself seam allowance. So you can see on this shirt, I found middle, then I moved a little bit to the left so that I'm cutting it, giving myself about an inch seam allowance on either side. Now, when it splices together, I have enough seam allowance to sew it without distorting the shape of the shirt. You're going to pin them together face to face. You're going to pin the 2 fronts together and then the 2 backs together, and we're going to sew it. Now, the very first stitch that I do is just a super wide stitch, straight stitch, just to make sure that it works. I tried it on and it worked perfectly. So I set my machine to the overlock stitch, which you can see there, and now I'm cutting off my excess. That way I'm cutting it right along the overlocked edge, and now we just fold that seam allowance to one side or the other and top stitch it down. You can see I folded it to the left, top stitched it. Now I've got a nice, clean, crisp front that makes it look really professional. Everything is laying flat and we're done. Now we're gonna take this long sleeve tee and turn it into a really cool lace-up dress with a peekaboo waist. I absolutely love this, and this is something you could do with any t-shirt. Doesn't need to be long sleeve. First, you wanna decide where you're gonna crop it. I wanted to avoid my belly button when it was open, so I went a little bit higher, put a pin, and then laid it down, used my rotary blade and my ruler in order to cut straight across where I had my pin. This is grommet tape. I am going to use this to create the lace-up effect. Now, there's multiple ways that you can attach your grommet tape. You can lay the edge right on the edge of the shirt and sew it that way, or even fabric glue it that way so that you're actually seeing the stitch, or you can do what I'm doing, which is actually laying it face to face, right sides together. I'm gonna pin it this way, and I'm gonna sew right along that edge and then fold it down and press it open so that all of the seams are hidden. Now you can see I actually swapped out my presser foot for the zipper foot. It's that super narrow foot. And I also moved my needle all the way to the right. This is allowing me to sew right along the edge without hitting the actual metal grommets and keep it super tight to the edge so I'm not actually like cannibalizing too much of that trim. Now you press it open. You can see now I'm folding it open and I'm pressing that tiny seam allowance with my iron so that it lays really flat. And you can see now from the outside, you can't see a stitch. It's really clean. If you guys wanted, you could just wear this as a 2-piece set. You could wear it as a crop top and a skirt, but I am gonna be lacing it up with this red lace and creating a dress with it.
All right, so this one's really cute, but it's just too big. So I'm gonna take it in. I'm basically gonna create these little darts. I pinned out basically 2 grommets on either side. So I will sew this little dart here and here. I'm gonna do, you can see it there. I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom. I think it'll actually create kind of a flattering shape, the way the graphic will go in. And then I'm gonna do one big one in the back. So I'll pull the neck in so the neck hole gets smaller, which is always a really cute look. I'm just gonna do a seam right here, like center and center. So I'll be getting rid of a lot of volume. It'll still be kind of loose, but I think it will be a much cuter fit.
So I sewed everything that I pinned, and now I'm just cutting off my excess, cutting off the excess off the top and the bottom and those little darts. And now you can see the skirt actually has much more of a flattering shape. Even on its own, it's gonna have a more tapered shape, which is gonna make it look like a dress because it's going in on the waist of both the top and the bottom. We're gonna take these sweatpants that I already cropped into shorts and a red t-shirt that I found at the thrift store and make an incredible little 2-piece set that is my new favorite. So I took my pants a while back, I folded them in half, and I just cut them at the same time. That turned them into shorts, and then I saved the legs because I thought I could use them as sleeves down the road. The t-shirt that I have here, I'm just cutting off the sleeve, making sure to cut off the seam allowance as well. You can see there is the old seam allowance. I'm cutting that off so that my t-shirt is just a raw edge.
Now we need to fit the pant leg so that it's gonna fit into the old armhole. You have two options here. One is you can just take out that excess, but after I looked at it, I thought this actually might be a cool opportunity to create that little puff sleeve. And on a puff sleeve, your shirt is generally larger and you sort of pin out or gather the excess right on the shoulder in order to make it fit. So that's what I'm doing. I took my old red t-shirt sleeve and I slid it all the way to the right for my underarm. I looked at about how much I needed to pin out and I started gathering it. I lined it up and I was like, okay, I need about another inch or two. So I did another large pleat, lined it up, and there we go. I had made the right amount. So now I'm just tacking down those little pin tucks that I did so that I don't have to bother with the pins when I'm putting it into my sleeve. So you're just gonna do that, create the stitch all the way down the side, and I sewed one in to make sure it worked. Since it did, I will now show you how. You wanna flip your t-shirt inside out. Take your sleeve right side out, don't flip it inside out, and put it inside of your shirt. Now you're gonna find the shoulder seam on your t-shirt, and you're gonna find the shoulder seam on your pant leg, or now your new sleeve, and you're gonna pin those together first. That's the part that needs to line up perfectly first. Now you're gonna go to your underarm seam. You're gonna pin those together. Now you just evenly distribute all of the rest of the fabric on both sides with lots and lots of pins. It's a curved seam, so you wanna make sure to pin it really well, and now we are going to stitch all the way around, attaching the sleeve. Oh my God, you guys, I freaked out. I tried it on and I was like, this is hideous. I hated the way that the drop shoulder looked with the poof sleeve. It just wasn't flattering. I knew that I was gonna need to pull the sleeve up to create a more flattering shape, so I begrudgingly seam ripped open my whole sleeve and detached it so that I could reattach it. Now here is my little tank. I felt for the shoulder bone because that's where I wanted it to line up, and I put a pin. Now I took my t-shirt, I folded it in half, and I cut at the same time the right and left side from where I pinned my shoulder to where the normal armhole ended. Now you can see there's quite a bit of excess. I am stretching my sweatpants sleeve in order to fit into this new armhole. And so once I sewed it, I just kind of pressed it and tugged it so that it would lay flat, and it worked perfectly, you guys. I can't wait for you to see how cute this one is. Okay, so here's our last one. I wanted to turn this giant Star Wars t-shirt into a really cool fringe dress. I made a huge mistake here, and I really like thinking about it now. I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? I, for some reason, attached my fringe to the outside of my dress. I mean, I don't even understand why I did this. This is old fringe that I had from another project, so you can see there's some glue residue like on it. So not only do I now need to hide that, but it's on the outside. I really don't know why I did this. What you guys want to do is you want to take your fringe and you want to sew it, glue it or sew it to the underneath so that it is coming out from the underneath and it's clean finished. Doing this on the outside made absolutely no sense. So forgive me. But the next thing I did is I removed the sleeve, and then again, why? I don't know. I attached it to the outside. So I went back and fixed my mistake. I basically folded the ends face to face and sewed it so that I kind of like hid inside this little seam that trim. It's a little bit bulkier than I wanted, but it was better than having the sort of fringe exposed. I think this looks a lot cleaner, but obviously do this from the get-go. Yours is gonna be, it's gonna lay a lot flatter, and it's gonna be a lot cleaner than having it on the outside.
Okay, I can't wait to model these and show you what they look like on. They are so cool. I seriously, hands down, would have added every single one of these items to my clothing line if it was still up and running, because I love them that much and I believe in them. They are so fun, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with them. Now, just a quick heads up, I am doing a bonus video this week. I'm so stoked. It is a major project that is surprisingly easy to do, but was like on my to-do list forever. So I'm really, really stoked. Total bonus, extra video this week. I'm not gonna tell you when. I'm just gonna say, make sure that if you haven't subscribed, that you not only subscribe, but you click that bell for notifications so that when the video surprisingly pops up on a random day, not a Friday, you guys get that notification and you can watch. I'm really excited, it's such a good one. Okay guys, let's take a look at what these turned out like.
You only make you feel like you could never leave. Do the same, we can't go back, this is all we need. Follow me to make believe and make your dreams come true. This night means forever, and so does me and you. We say we love, we say we love. We gave it all, we gave it all. Till something better came along.